All right, people, we got to discuss this. So there's some advertising campaigns that are going on. You're probably seeing a ton of T-Mobile advertisements and commercials and marketing for their Starlink connected services, the satellite connectivity coverage anywhere, however they're marketing it. Now AT&T actually just dropped their ad in which they described, the same kind of thing, right? Emergency contact when there's no terrestrial network available. And the quote from the ad was, "How far can your connection go?" All right, so that means AT&T is likely approaching nearly a point where they're going to be looking at beta testing. And at the very least, putting it on the customer's radar that they're going to be offering the service. So this is exciting. Obviously, we're moving in the right direction. The thing that has to be, I guess you got to consider it as the customer, is the way that these companies do this with these new services and these new things in development is there has to be fair expectations. What we've said about T-Mobile, we got to have that same energy about AT&T, right? Limited voice connectivity expected late in 2026, according to AT&T. That would mean that because they're doing it with the same company, ASTS Space Mobile, as Verizon, that we can expect Verizon in and around the same time. I don't see why that would be much different. So that's cool. Now, the differentiation here is T-Mobile has been, offering text messaging service, and it's been unreliable and not great. They're trying to get some approvals to be able to turn up power on their signals from space, as a satellite connection. And that would make the connection more durable, more resilient, and that would make the connection better and possibly bring calling into the fold, which AT&T and Verizon clearly want to establish that they're able to do that too. Because if you look at it, Verizon already has the messaging with Skylo. AT&T, most people have iPhones on the AT&T network, so they already have it with Globalstar. Nobody needs, if you think about it, nobody needs the texting, right? They already kind of have it if you have an iPhone. And if you have a Samsung Galaxy, a modern one, you have it through Skylo, through Android, and that relationship with Verizon. So having text messaging isn't really a distinguishing factor. In fact, the carriers, they're not even really charging for it. Neither is Apple. You're going to have to do something more, and that's going to be the calling piece, and that's going to be the data piece, which I'm assuming is going to come with some density as more satellites are launched. But we're getting close, and we're getting to a point where I think for AT&T, and then we'll follow up with Verizon too, that the data services will be here at some point. And it sounds to me like that's probably still about a year and a half away, at least from what I could tell, is we're probably looking at a 2027 timeline. At the very least, if calling won't be a thing until 2026, whatever the plan is for AT&T. Don't think Verizon will be far off, which gives T-Mobile more time to figure out what the hell they're going to do. Their claim is that they're first, and their claim is that they're the furthest along. But they just have to give us something more. We just, as the consumer, you don't need to pay for something that hasn't been, it's been free to you up to this point. You're gonna have to do something better, up the ante. And you know me, I'm more of an innovate than a litigate kind of guy, right? And to kind of throw you guys this update from T-Mobile, they're getting pushback from EchoStar right now about the interference risk from the turning up of the power of their connection. So a lot of that is still kind of hanging over T-Mobile's head, and it's still a thing. Anyways, I wanted to give you guys that update. Late 2026 for AT&T, and likely Verizon is right there when it comes to satellite voice services. At that point, we can start talking about, if that lands and that's effective, we start talking about data services. And I'm not sure where T-Mobile is at that point. They've got some technical things they're trying to overcome, and I don't know how much of that is going to change. Hopefully something, because obviously consumers want something more than the text messaging they've already had. Anyways, what are your thoughts and opinions on this? Excited for AT&T? Excited about T-Mobile pushing the envelope? About Verizon's position in all this? Let me know. Drop me some comments. Like, share, and subscribe. Check out some more videos. See you guys on the next one.